Hey all, this is Erin, and you are listening to Stop Talking About Fat Loss. And I am here once again with my team, Sarah and Chris.
Hi,
What's up,
guys.
guys?
I'm not going to forget to let you say hi this time. I will never forget that.
Nope. Too embarrassed now.
Yeah. I remember for the rest of my life.
We have now trauma induced Erin into always introducing us and letting us
Well,
talk.
we learned about banter a little bit too. But we're
We're
talking
trying.
today about fitting health into your lifestyle and how you can manage healthy habits regardless of what's going on. Doesn't mean that we're like constantly going to be addressing fat loss, but if you are to maintain good healthy habits throughout the year, you're not only going to have an easier time losing fat if that's the goal, but you're going to be able to keep it off sustainably and also build the lean muscle mass that you need to have long-term health, like healthy metabolisms, healthy hormones, all of those things that are really, really important, and not just focusing on body composition change, even though we're good with that too. But I think people tend to get themselves into a space where health is only a body composition change, and they're only going to act towards their health and wellness goals if it produces some sort of change, which we all know that if you're doing it that way, you're going to continue to yo-yo, you're going to continue to spiral. And how to approach things like the summer coming up, we're going to dive into that, the holiday season, all of the times where people need a little bit more flexibility with their nutrition and their plan, or you can maintain your results, or you can work on a different result, like adding strength, that kind of thing, to overall have better results throughout the rest of the years that you're working on it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, and then I just think that, always having it apply back to health. And I think I've talked about this on the podcast before. It just really wipes away all of the negative connotations that we have with being on a quote unquote diet or going through an exercise routine. When you are super focused on how that makes you feel and how it improves your health, you will not be clamoring so hard for scale changes and to buy smaller clothes and to be smaller, because you'll learn that being your smallest might not always equal being your healthiest. And being very, very in touch with how your body is feeling, just overall health wise, will be a way better marker and way less frustrating journey than just always looking to see if, oh, did the scale drop today? Did the scale drop today? It's like so frustrating relying on literally gravity for to like determine whether or not you're
Yeah.
doing the healthy thing for yourself.
Yeah. I don't know where we got confused about smallness or thinness and health. It doesn't, some people do need to lose weight to improve health markers. That's obvious. But most of us, I think we're living in a world that's extremely under muscled. And most of the problems that we have are due to the fact that we don't have enough muscle mass. We have really poor relationships with food. We're over consuming like highly palatable or fast food items. And if we were to improve our health, we would also be able to like see and have better bodies. Like it should be health first, and then the body composition is a side effect of that. Like people who are fit are working on the foundation of fitness, and then in turn their bodies look like they're fit. That's how that works, and it can be accomplished every day of the year without grinding yourself into the ground.
Oh yeah. Maybe. I'm just kidding. No, it's possible. I just always erred, like, I am the type of person who tends to err on the obsessive side of things. I have like this hyperfixation thing. And so I totally understand the people who just want to start doing stuff and then they want to do everything. And to them, doing all of the healthy things at once feels really healthy, but it's not. As we have seen, when you tip over into the other side of the spectrum, that's when you're starting to be really, really injured, when you don't want to eat that way anymore and you're super, and you don't have fun times, or just decadent meals just for the heck of it, just because it's fun and a part of life. That's not healthy either. Doing all of the healthy quote unquote things does not equal health. And, that's what we're kind of referencing when we're kind of saying, like, yeah, you can do this while on summer vacation. Is it going to look like working out perfectly, 4 or 5 days a week and always hitting your water steps, everything perfectly? No, probably not. You're probably going to have more fun and less like strict activities, but that can still be healthy if you would tackle it in an intentional way.
Well, a lot of people view health as punishment, like they're punishing
Yeah.
themselves for being quote unquote gluttonous or lazy or all these adjectives we tell ourselves that we are. So, okay, well, I need to work out because I'm fat, lazy piece of shit. Like,
Ugh,
okay,
I hate
I'm
that.
going to, yeah, I hate when people say that, but it is some, I said it because that's what goes through people's head.
Yep.
So what
Does.
do? Okay, I'm going to work out really, really hard and I'm going to suffer. And I'm going to cut out all the foods I like and I'm going to eat a bunch of stuff that doesn't taste good. It tastes like cardboard because apparently, if you listen to social media influencers, anything that you enjoy in life is terrible for you. So we should just eat like cardboard tasting food and punish ourselves in the gym. And that is super miserable on top of if you have kids, if you have a stressful job, like who's going to be consistent with something like you're not looking forward to each day? Like eventually we fail. Like it's miserable. It's not fun. Instead, like, the title of this podcast, fit health into your lifestyle. Like we can enjoy food. We can do exercise in a way that's not punishment. And it's fine if you like to work out hard. Like I really like to work out hard. I like to do intense workouts every once in a while. But if my life is super stressful, I'm not doing super intense workouts that I'm going to only go in at like 60%, then get frustrated because I'm not working out hard enough. Like, okay, like
Yeah.
we're let's make it work for our lifestyle. If you're really stressed out, let's not destroy ourselves in the gym.
Yeah.
I was
It's,
watching
yeah.
this. Go ahead, Erin. Or I could go. We're doing really good at this banter back and forth thing, guys. I think we're really picking it up. But what I was gonna say was that, like, I was watching this reel the other day, and it was of this family, and they are both pretty fit people, but they have two sets of twins under the age of 3. So they're Chris just died a little inside, but they were saying how their routine as their twins grow up changes constantly, and it's constantly flexing. And like they were kind of describing how they are sleeping in separate beds and how that's not necessarily ideal, but it's just a temporary solution to this thing to make the house run a little bit easier. And this is what your healthy habits should do for you too. They should flex with you based on what your life is demanding. And that's the way that we're going to make sure that you're healthy all year round, because your ability to apply yourself, in the summer months when things might be just a little bit easier for you, or if or on the other end, that's going to look differently than a time when you have a lot of work on your plate, or, when your goals are just a little bit different. Your goals will change from month to month, even week to week, and like it gets kind of even minuscule too. And that's what we want to teach you with with figuring out how to add more water in, or figuring out where to add more fruits and veggies, is to make sure that you have a handle on that. And ideally, when we are working with our health, not only is our body composition and all of our health markers going to improve, but just mentally, that's going to free you up to be able to handle all of the other crazy crap that happens in your life. Randomly needing to stop by the gas station, like all of the crazy random errands that we need to like tackle as an adult. The more that you lean into your health on the fitness side of things, the easier the rest of the life stuff is going to be, because you're going to be operating from a healthier routine and a healthier system. And I argue that that's really the most important part for me on the health and wellness journey. I just needed I needed to free up my mind to be able to handle life stuff, because I think that was what really got in the way for me before, was like my brain just ping ponging around and I just had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah. I think I we're going to talk about tips on how to introduce some wellness habits into your life, but I'm going to get a little bit, I don't know if controversial is the right word, but just maybe a little bit challenging for everybody, because I'm in that kind of a mood, but I the level of excuse that people hold for their health and wellness will never end unless you just start. And saying that I can't start because it's the summer is an excuse. It doesn't matter what you have going on. I can't start because it's the holidays. Before we jumped on and started recording, we were saying, people start at Halloween and end on New Year's Day. That entire like quarter of the year is essentially kept like on the back burner for health and wellness because it's quote unquote the holidays. Like that's not a thing. The holidays are 3 days. You can still have some holiday cookies in the meantime or some Halloween candy and eat Thanksgiving dinner, all those things, and still maintain healthy lifestyle habits. Like it's just it doesn't exist in this black and white thing that it needs to, like you think that it needs to exist in. It's all of the gray area, and you can enjoy your life. You're just making an excuse. I was on Facebook this morning and this girl's talking about Weight Watchers, and she said the Weight Watchers promo recently, I guess, was 10 months for $10 a month, and it just raised it to $11. And she said she didn't want to do it because it was $11. Like, I don't know this person's financial situation, but $1 a month is going to stop you from working on your health goals. Like, that's an excuse. Like, that's where we're at. And those are the things that you have to start calling yourself out on. We will lean into the negative because we're comfortable there. She thought to herself, like, I was going to spend $10, but it's 11. So now I cannot even work on my health goals. Like, what is that real? Because it is real because people are doing it. And I think that it's time to start like analyzing that negativity that you're like putting out into the space. If you think you can't start getting in shape because the summer's coming up, you're just making another excuse.
I wish I started a meme page a long time ago for the amount of first world problems you hear in the health and fitness industry.
It's
like
wild.
I can't start on my health goals because I'm taking too many vacations this summer. Like that's the kind of thing. Oh, I drink too much alcohol this summer, so I can't work out or diet. Like, just if you think of something like that, like maybe go hashtag first world problem. Like same thing with the holidays. Like, I can't work on anything because we have my corporate job that pays me really well, throws all these things, and for a couple weeks out of the year, like I have like dinners and parties and things. Like, okay, great. Maybe 2 weeks out of the whole holiday season, you're actually busy. What are you doing the rest of the time?
Yeah. It's this vicious cycle that like we are telling ourselves we're going to start. And so the dopamine hit is like, I'm going to start after the summer. I can't start in the summer. Or like, I was going to do it, but it costs $1 more per month. Like, you can't make this shit up. And it's like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. I'm like that. That's fine. But you have to get real with yourself because like Chris said, if you, even during the holiday season, it doesn't have to be about fat loss. It could be about like walking, and the other 2 meals that you eat in the day are healthy. And then the corporate meal or your boss's meal or whatever is like, is the indulgence. And even if that happens a couple of times a week in the month of December, you're still going to be net positive if you're doing healthy things in the beginning of the day and prioritizing movement and using that food to build muscle. Like, there's a lot of things that can be done that like it doesn't have to be just fat loss related. But I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I honestly think it's the pushing of what we think we want, but actually not wanting to put the action into doing it.
Oh, right. Like, well, like for a lot of this is like their actions are just not aligned with what they say that they want. They're like, I really want to live in an intuitive eating space where I listen to my body and I'm super healthy and I eat healthy food and I work out sometimes. And like, you know what? That is a totally valuable life to lead. I love that idea where it's not like needing to be super aggressive with, going in like hard in the paint all the time. I want to get to that point too, but you can't start from where you are and then all of a sudden just live this loosey-goosey fitness life. You can't. You have to kind of go in and actually establish that health first. And that is the hard part. And that's what people are really trying to avoid, because I don't think that people understand all of the emotional hardship that you're going to experience in that journey, all of the mental hardship you're going to experience in that journey, and also all of the pitfalls that happen just in life that are going to also get in the way, the things that you can't change, all of those random emergencies, all of just that life stuff that happens. All of that affects your journey way more. And what you see it as is like, what your brain sees it as is like, oh, all of that is way too hard. Don't want to do that. So I'm just going to keep living life in this way and pretend like something got in my way and stopped me from doing the healthy thing. And you have to realize that that's what you're trying to protect yourself from. I mean, I wanted to do that too. I always like kind of reference this funny story with Erin, because when I started, I was like, I think I'm going to tell her that my goal weight is 10 pounds more than what I really want, because I'm scared that I'm not going to get my real goal weight. I was already like dwindling down the goals that I thought that I was able to achieve because of just what my perception of the situation was going to be. And so instead of just going in and starting to learn, I held myself back because of just how hard I thought it was going to be. And it doesn't have to be that difficult. Is it difficult? Yes, but like it's way harder to just follow some random thing like 75 hard with absolutely no guidance than it is to just learn how to eat a little bit healthier, move your body a little bit more, and just be in tune with your health.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that miserable thing, because the rest of it, the mental piece, the emotional piece, all of that is hard enough. You don't have to like eat carrots and like salmon fillets every day for it to be hard.
Yeah, I don't know what that thing is that makes us. I think it lives in the grind mindset that we have. Like the only thing that we can do is like be miserable in our fitness and wellness, be miserable in our jobs, and then and I think that this is a huge piece of it, honestly. Like then we completely go to the opposite end. It's like that's where we're missing the mark. Is life is really hard. We are busy. We have kids, we have jobs, all of those things. Fitness is really hard, but it doesn't have to be. But that's what we're telling ourselves. And so we have to wait for the perfect time to introduce something more hard, because it's going to get in the way of this like little blip of pleasure that we have, which is a vacation or a holiday or even a weekend. I had this conversation with a long-term client of mine this week, and she said, like, I'm just really burnt out with work. It feels like Groundhog's Day. I am agitated all the time. And we have been working for a while on her weekend compliance, because she is working on fat loss, but the weekends she just kind of went like goes off the handle. And I was like, that's it. Your week is so stressful and like mentally taxing that you have to completely let go of everything to address like the pleasure part of you on the weekends. And it was like, your homework for this week is to plan something fun during the weekdays, and like let a little bit of that in your life. Go to happy hour, or like go schedule a manicure at lunchtime. Like she has a job where it's flexible enough for her to do that. And it's like, go out to dinner with your husband on a Wednesday night, whatever. And like start to allow the week to have a little bit of pleasure in it, and then you won't feel like you have to completely overcompensate on the weekends. And it's the same thing with holidays and vacation. Like we're living in a situation where we like hate our everyday life, and we hate our fitness and wellness, and we hate the diet that has to go with it. And you can't have carbohydrates, and you, God forbid, you have an old fashioned or a margarita. And then when we're allowed to, because life has changed a little bit, everything goes out the window. And it doesn't, that's where we're messing up. That's how we're missing the mark on our health and wellness goals, because we are allowing ourselves to be too strict and then completely fall off the wagon when we don't, like when we can mentally let go a little bit.
Yeah. Neither one of those options is healthy.
No.
None.
both are bad. Both are bad.
Both really suck.
Yeah, I feel that like I still catch myself like weekday, even though I work from home and this career is very, very flexible. Like I just working as a personal trainer, and like every other week I worked a Saturday, and sometimes we did stuff on Sunday. So it was like every other week I worked 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, and then it was like the other weeks like I had a full weekend. So you're looking forward to those days, and those days are like, okay, that's where you have to cram everything fun in. Like, no,
Yeah.
like you said, you can do stuff on weekdays. And I was working, we've all had a career in fitness. So working as a personal trainer, waking up 5:30 a.m., not getting home till like 8:30 p.m.
Yep.
most of my adult life, I was like, wait, people go out on weekdays? Like you can go out for food on weekdays? What's
Yeah.
that? Because I never actually experienced that
Wow.
working. So I had friends like, hey, like you're off. Like, why don't we do happy hour? Like, wait, what? You
People
don't
do
go
that?
out on a Thursday to happy hour. Oh, this is what normal people do. Okay.
Yeah.
I always had it backwards in restaurant. Like that was when I would go out, would be like Mondays or Tuesdays because those were my weekends. And so my week landed from Wednesday to Sunday. And so that always comes, when your schedule is offbeat with everyone else's too, can also affect it. But I just think that that's what we really need to allow. Like I think everybody puts their workouts and and everything just in these unique little boxes, and it's all so compartmentalized that like no aspects of their life can commingle, and that's what's making them miserable. Like you're becoming like this new version of yourself throughout each task. There's like a healthy version of you who goes out and eats, and then there's the gremlin version of you who has wine for dinner and wants Jack in the Box tacos, and then there's like the mom version of you that wants to cook really healthy food and be at home and be there with the kids or whatever. Like you aren't really three different people like operating at different levels. Like you need to start to like mesh all of those lives together and figure out how to balance them so that you can just be you and be happy with the way that you're living your life, no matter what it looks like on the surface or to anybody else. Like I think we're all just working off of these compartmentalized templates that were given to us from other people, and we're not thinking so much about what's really best for our health and our lives. And again, it's all under the guise of fitness, and so we're all just like making ourselves miserable for the sake of this weird miserable fitness life, when really, and that's why I think like it's so hard for everybody. Like I bet you get a lot of this, Erin, where people are like, I just can't do what you do, that life is just impossible for me. And I'm like, no, it's not that. It's just that yours is going to look very different from mine. Let's find what works for you.
Yeah, I do. I get it less now that this is like my career, but even when I was just like working out regularly, and people would be like, you see me, coming out of the gym and then running the restaurants and stuff like that, I would get that all of the time. Like, I just can't do what you do. And I'm like, you, but why? I don't exist in this like weird ether. I don't like, yeah, I do. And the thing is, for me, is like I always liked working out. So I understand that that might not be a thing that you like doing. Some people, I don't. Okay, I said I understand, but I also don't understand just because that's my personality. But I hold space for people that don't like to work out. So, like, that part I get. For me, going to the gym, like, yes, some days I don't want to go, but for the most part, I really, really look forward to it. But it doesn't mean that I'm different than anybody else, that I can fit that into my schedule. Like my working out and like lifting super heavy weights at the gym for 45 minutes or an hour could be your walk or your bar class or your spin class or something that
Mhm.
is fun for you. It doesn't have to look one certain way. I mean, yes, if we're talking about specific body composition goals, yeah, you might have to do something super specific, but if the goal is just health and maybe a little fat loss, like it doesn't have to look the way that it looks for me. And I think that's where people get confused, because we've talked about social media influencers a lot, and they do exist in a world where they're constantly in a gym space and constant, like their shirts are off at the fucking grocery store, and like normal people don't exist in that world. I don't even exist in that world, and my job is in health and wellness. It's like I I have days where I don't want to do it, or I have days where I sleep in. I have days where like I don't go to the gym when I plan to. Like it's not easy to share that on social media, which is I think why we wanted to do this podcast, because we could talk in long form about the reality of what like real fitness professionals do, not just like the really really beautiful jacked people on the internet. Like most of us are living a real life where it's hard. Like Chris, I kind of am curious about the kid situation in this, because there's a lot of variables when it comes to, especially you have toddlers, so like fitting everything in. And I know for a fact, and I it's still an excuse, but it's a very, very valid one when you have little ones at home, like navigating that. What say you about the little kid situation and maintaining your health and wellness?
You're going to have to be intentional about it, and you're going to be working out when you don't want to. Like last night, I did not want to work out. I was exhausted by the time I walked into our garage to work out. Like I was exhausted. I did a quick workout, not what was planned, but it was supposed to be, and it's supposed to be my favorite day, which is bench day. So it's chest,
Oh,
shoulders, triceps, my favorite. I was not looking forward to it whatsoever. So I just did a really quick, like 30-minute workout, got it done. And that's sometimes that's how the weeks go. Like that's just how it goes with kids. You're not going to have the perfect split, because if you don't have kids, you can't. And I used to say, like, I don't understand. You can't understand this, but when you're off of work, like if you don't have kids, you can kind of relax. When you have kids, especially younger kids, specifically younger kids, like you're trying to keep them from injuring themselves in the house or getting
Yeah.
into things that they shouldn't be getting into. So you're either manically trying to clean things up from dinner so they don't grab the bowl and dump everything that's left in the bowl off the table, or the knife that's there, or the wine glass. So you're trying to clean everything up really quick, and then they're running around like a nut because all of a sudden they got a blood sugar spike because they ate food. And so like she's chasing the dog, and so I'm trying to like keep the dog who's getting overstimulated and angry, like trying to
oh God.
separate them, and she doesn't want to be separated from the dog, and the dog wants to be with me, like protect me. So it's like after all of that, for the next, as my wife's getting our youngest to bed, then that one goes to bed, finally have a chance to relax. And we can't do the dishes while this is going on because they want to get into the dishwasher and break the dishwasher. So it's just one of those situations where every parent's like, yup, right now,
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm
listening.
sure.
So it's like, and then you can breathe. It's like, great. Okay, that's 9 at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, now I get my breathing moment. Whereas if you don't have kids, like, okay, you had dinner and now it's 6:30, maybe 7:30 at the latest. Okay, like I have the rest of the evening. It's like, no, I have bedtime routine and all these things. And it's not to say like I don't love my kids or anything, but it's time where you're not relaxing. You are
Yeah.
active. You are monitoring them, making sure they don't get hurt. They're going, in the tub and getting washed. And it's also that checklist thing. Like you get decision fatigue because it's like bath time. You have to do this and this and this, and then dry them off and get them dressed and do this, and then go read the story and blah, blah, blah. You get a little bit of decision fatigue with that. So with that being said, when it comes to your fitness, you have to be intentional of, I'm going to get X amount of days in, but be realistic too. Like I'm not getting 2 days in. I'm not
Right.
getting 6 days a week in all the time. Like 4 days a week's a really good number for me. That's like my minimum goal is 4 days a week. I feel best when I'm doing at least that. If I'm getting 3 days a week is my like busy time, but the rest of the year, 4 days a week is minimum. And then I'll push up to 5 or 6 days a week. When it comes to your nutrition, it's a lot of parents will have the kids basically dictate what they eat, which we don't do. We do it a little, like we don't do spicy food because obviously that's a
Mhm.
Sure.
they're like,
Yeah.
okay, we used
No,
to
no.
do like Thai food, like I would make Thai food every Tuesday. We don't do that.
Yeah.
Fair.
um, so
Yeah.
so
That makes sense.
there's some changes, but like Mexican food, I just don't make spicy. Like instead of all the peppers and everything, I just use a shitload of paprika in there
Oh
because
yeah.
it's not spicy. Um, so in that sense, they do dictate a little bit, but just make the food you want to make that fits with your lifestyle and your choices and give it to them. Let them experience it and then have backups instead of like, oh, my kids won't eat that. How do you know? You want to have
Right.
picky eaters? Don't have them eat things. There's a child psychologist said that, or maybe as a dietitian, regardless, they specialize in pediatrics. You need to expose kids 7 times to a food before you can say whether they like it or dislike it. Most parents are going to give up after 1 or 2 times. Like, oh, they didn't eat it. Like, we're not making that again. And I see this a little bit in my mother-in-law where she'll just like, they didn't eat it. They don't like it. They don't like this food. I'm like, they eat it at our house all the time. Well, they didn't for me, so they don't like it. No, like that was one time. How did you make it? Was it boiled vegetables? I don't like boiled vegetables. Like,
I'm not gonna eat that
Why-
either. So
what was
No,
it?
I hate that. I hate that.
So like
Uh,
we have frozen like the popcorn chicken, the air fryer popcorn chicken on hand. We know she'll eat peanut butter and jelly, so we'll have like the Dave's Killer bread, which has like 5 grams of protein per slice. And we have all these other things like those are backups. They can try it. If they like it, great. If not, we can go and make them something else so they hit their nutrition requirements. But then mom and dad are getting the food that they want. And sometimes they grow out of it. My oldest hated peas when she was youngest. She would take whatever was on a plate or another piece of food, and she would literally in her high chair just wipe out the entire tray of peas. She would throw them all over the floor. Now you could just give her a bowl of peas with a little bit of butter, and she would devour the whole thing.
She's
She
down.
loves them.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's one of those foods like I don't. She doesn't like this veggie. I'll just make peas really quick. We always keep frozen peas because I know she can get her fiber in that way. So it took 4 or 5 attempts before she was like, "Oh, I actually like these."
That is something that I do with myself. And this is actually probably the one that I get fired up with the most because I hate when people are like, no, I hate that. I can't do that. I don't like that. And I'm like, you all are adults. Like, if you know that this is healthy for you, I'm really going to need you to try a little bit harder because people like who kind of grew up just to remain really, really picky and stubborn about things. I get a little awkward about it. I'm like, are you sure you don't actually like that? Or are you just being a dick? This is something that I've tricked myself into doing because I'm stubborn on the opposite end of the spectrum. I hate not liking something. It bothers me so badly when something is not on the table for me. I did this with whiskey where I just ordered whiskey at every single restaurant that I went to for like a year until I loved it. And then now it's like my primary alcohol of choice. And then like, so I just, it reminded me when you're like, you want to try a food 7 times. I'm like, you guys go back to the things that you tried before that maybe didn't land the first time, but maybe try it again now in this part of your journey. Different foods, try cooking them in different ways, be open-minded about what's possible for you. Because if you, like I said, if you keep yourself in that little compartmentalized box of I can only eat chicken nuggets and mac and cheese, then you're never going to get out of your comfort zone and learn what's actually possible for you. That's why you don't get your results because you are keeping yourself in this box of I'm not fit, I can't do it, I can't eat like that. And so you will never know your potential until you break out of that. And again, like you're an adult, you know that you need to eat some fiber and eat some fruits and veggies. I understand that there are going to be some that you don't like and some methods that you don't like to cook, but I'm going to need you to try because I can't have you not eating fruits and veggies. And I just think like, I scream sometimes at my boyfriend and I'm like, I'm just asking them to drink water and eat vegetables. Like, why?
Adults that
Why
tell
is
me
this
they
so hard?
like,
And we're not saying like eat liver and kidneys.
right.
No.
Broccoli. I've had plenty of adults, multiple, that say I don't like vegetables. Like we're all vegetables.
All of them.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't. Incorrect. If you're making them like Chris said earlier, steamed and the plain, yeah, of course nobody likes that. But and if someone tells you they do, they're freaking lying to you. Like you can cook them in healthy ways that taste good and you just have to experiment with it. You like vegetables, and even if you don't love it, it's like there are ways to manipulate it or add it to stuff. Like I put zucchini in my pasta. Like if I make pasta, you can't even taste it, but I get greens in with my pasta. And I like zucchini, but it's just like I feel like if I'm going to make a meal like that, I need some sort of green in there if I'm not going to do a salad. And even still, I like to have some fiber, so I'll make like just a plain marinara sauce with some sort of protein and a vegetable, and usually it's zucchini because that's an easy thing to just like chop up and put in pasta. But there's ways to get around it, and that's we're just not thinking outside the box. We just want to like
No.
be like, nope, don't like vegetables, not going to do it. And those
Yeah.
negative affirmations will continue to haunt you. Like every time you say you can't, you can't. You're right.
Oh, yeah.
Not
You're
going
telling
to.
your brain, yep, I certainly cannot do that. You're training your body and your brain to tell itself that it can't do these things.
Yeah.
So many cultures like outside of America know what the fuck to do with vegetables. Like you go to
Yeah.
Italians, you look at the French, they know what to do. Like the base for a lot of French food is going to be carrots, celery, and onion. You're telling me if you
Oh.
saute that up for 15 minutes, you're not going to like it? Like that smells amazing. Every time I do that, my wife's like, ooh, that smells good. I've been on a Southern kick, so I've been making some Creole food,
I
not
saw
spicy,
that.
of course. So what's the base? It's peppers, celery, and onion. You're telling me you do bell peppers and stuff and that you saute that up and you're not going to like that tastes fucking good. I don't
You know
know.
what's sad? I don't like bell peppers and it bugs me. I've tried them in multiple ways, and for a while I was vegan vegetarian, like in my 20s. I went through that phase, and I peppers are like a huge staple of the vegan
Mm-hmm.
vegetarian diet. I cannot stand them in any way. I have
Just
tried.
bell peppers though?
Yeah, just bell peppers. Yeah.
Like
They
there's
taste
I'm
other
like
not a
dirty
fan of
spices
water.
in
crunchy
there.
water. I was
Yeah.
gonna say crunchy water.
Yep. That's what it's like. Crunchy water. I don't like it. But yeah, I'll do like poblanos or jalapeno. Like those kinds of peppers are fine. But yeah, bell peppers, not a fan. It's just sad. But I eat
There's
other stuff.
other varieties. Unfortunately, you have to grow them. Like I'm growing a few sweet pepper varieties that are supposed to taste different, like some Italian heirlooms. But
Ooh.
bell peppers are, yeah, I've failed at growing those multiple times. You get like one
They
pepper
are
after like
hard.
180 days.
They're really tough.
They're tough.
Well, and I think that with cooking, we just have a complete misunderstanding of what cooking is, like good standard, like good
Yeah.
flavorful cooking. What we have done as a society overall is said, here's where the flavor comes from: fat. And so it, like, all of the things that we perceive to taste good just have a crap ton of oil. But when
Yeah.
you have a base, like Chris said, with chopped onions, chopped garlic, some celery, some carrots, with just a little bit of oil, that is maximizing flavor for not a crazy amount of macros. And these are the skills that we want to get you in touch with as nutrition coaches, because good healthy things does not mean completely absent of flavor. You do not need to just boil
Yeah.
things in water to be fit. Like, there's a flavorful way to do things. Like, have you not heard of salt and oregano? Like, just throw it on your food and make your vegetables taste a little bit different. Like, I get all the time people are like, well, yeah, I would eat broccoli, but I really only like it when it's smothered in fake cheese sauce. And I'm like, bro, what? Like,
Gross.
you are 35 years old. I'm going to need you to find another way to like vegetables.
And
Like
there's so
roasted
many.
with a little bit of feta and some raisins. That's
Yeah.
really good.
Oh my gosh.
Or
Yeah.
just in
So
the air fryer with a little bit of olive oil and
Yep.
sprinkle with just a little bit of sea salt and some pepper. Like, it's easy.
Little
It's
garlic
easy
powder
to
on
do.
that. Perfect.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's like so many companies out there that are trying to make this easier too. Like, I used Flavor God. This is like a little name drop. We're obviously not sponsored by anyone, but hey, if you hear this, I'm open to it. But there's a brand called Flavor God that it's like, and they're all natural. They don't have any added sugars. Some of them have dairy, some don't, but they're gluten-free, vegan, kosher. And like, they have these toppings that, just based on the spices within the tub, they taste like pepperoni pizza or ranch. Or so it's like a way for you to have good vegetables just roasted, but sprinkle it with something that kind of tastes like pepperoni pizza. That's going to get you closer to your goals. You're going to feel like you're eating something decadent, and you're going to eat some goddamn vegetables. Like,
Nope.
go out and find those things.
Yeah.
My wife picked up.
Salsa.
Yes,
Yeah.
salsa is actually really. It's like 5
So
calories a
good.
serving.
So
good.
good. I
So
love
good.
salsa.
My wife picked up a garlic bread seasoning. That
Mm.
on chicken, on
Dude.
beef, that on like it works for, I'm like, we haven't actually made garlic bread from it. We've used it for veggies and meats.
That
I'm like,
sounds
it's
delicious.
actually really good. As
So
like,
good.
I don't have to think about what I'm going to see. I'm just like quick night, like throw that on there. It needs a little bit of salt. So that salt done. Don't have to think about anything else. I'm like, that's actually very easy. We're going to keep this in the pantry from now on.
Yes, a way for
Yeah.
you to add flavor without adding a crap ton of fat content. That's what a lot of sauces are, is just piling more fat. And it's not that I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying that you need to eat a low fat diet or you need to start buying low fat things. You can have full fat stuff. It's just that we're completely imbalanced. Like if eating 150 grams of vegetables is dependent on you adding several ounces of cheese, I want you to do something different because it's not working out.
But also at the same time, like it could that could be the bridge. It like
True.
if you're eating a shit ton of like fast food or eating out a lot or door dashing, like if you need to add cheese to your food to make it more palatable that you're cooking at home, you're still probably going to be eating less and you're going to be consuming less like chemicals and all the crap that's in these
Mm-hmm.
highly processed foods that people are eating. But like maybe I've had those bridges in my journey where like I'm adding some stuff that makes stuff a little bit more palatable, and then as I grow in my health and wellness, that stuff kind of like fell by the wayside. I didn't need
Exactly.
it as much. And so if you need, maybe like you need a lot of cheese to eat broccoli right now, and then once you start getting used to it, you add like a little bit less and a little bit less, and then you learn how to cook it with slight bit of olive oil and something else, and like it becomes something that your body gets used to and you get used to. And if you're using that as a bridge, it's cool. But if you're constantly using it as an excuse to overconsume, or you have the knowledge that like the cheese that you put on your food could potentially be bringing you out of a deficit if the goal is fat loss, like all of those things are parts of this journey and fitting this in and learning that people don't recognize. Like there are different methods to this, but you have to tell yourself that you can do it and then go and learn how to do it. And it doesn't have to be one way. You can do it in however capacity you want for the most part, but it's not going to work if you just say I can't, or it's the summer and I won't, or it's the holidays and I won't, because you start to like count yourself out for huge chunks of the year, or huge like all of the vegetables. Like you're never going to eat a vegetable because you hate every single one of them. Like there's a lot of vegetables. There's some I probably don't even know about out there in the world.
There's so many.
I was just
So
listing them
go
out.
look for them.
Well, you're moving to Mexico, so you're probably going to find a whole bunch that you've never heard of.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I know if you go to Asian markets, you find a whole bunch that you're like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what to do
You're
with
like,
this.
what
Like,
does that even look like?
yeah,
The first time I went to a Filipino market, like in the Philippines, it was like it was a crazy experience. But what was really cool about that was like I just kind of learned how other cultures tackle health and food. It was really cool. I think concepts like this are kind of popping up around the US, but it was cool. It was just a big market. And so there was a bunch of fresh produce, like fresh fish, other proteins. And so basically what we did was we sent all the different families out and we all picked just different items. And then you bring all of that fresh produce and meat to one person and they cook it on one big grill. And then they just bring it to you all cooked. And then you just choose like a side of rice to have with everything. And it's all just this big potluck, a bunch of vegetables, a bunch of fresh meat. And it was just grilled, just all together. And then we all sat down on this big like picnic table and just ate it all together. I was like, this is cool. Just looking at fresh ingredients, watching how it can all be put together. And and it checked all the boxes: rice for our starches, fruits and veggies, and then lots of protein. It was so cool to kind of look at it within this grand scope. I was like, oh, it doesn't have to be a meal. It doesn't have to be lasagna or pot roast or whatever. It could just be food. And that was a really cool thing for me to learn. And that's, I mean, I want to simplify that for everybody and just let everybody know that food is food. Like Like, we just need you to eat it in a healthy capacity in a way that serves you and helps you feel good in your day to day. It's not going to serve you long term if you're only thinking about, this is the diet that I eat to be small, and then this is the diet that I eat the rest of the time. Because that's what it is, with just like Erin saying that you're counting yourself out for big chunks of the year when you're just following into the holidays, when really it's just one day, 2 days out of the week, and you're probably going to want to eat some good fruits and veggies and some good proteins every other day that week. So we want to, like, just get back in touch with just let food be food. And those outlier days can be outlier days, but just be really in touch with what, how you're contributing to your health environment in the normal day to day, not in just those holiday days, and get just let food be food and eat it well.
Yeah. I mean, so huge. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like what people think their healthy self and their regular self are two different individuals. And you have to bring those people together. Like, you have to identify as a healthy person or a fit person and do it most of the time for the rest of your life. Not all the time. Like I said, all of us indulge, all of us miss days at the gym, but we are doing something every single day. And I think that's where people kind of get lost, is like, it doesn't have to be this huge thing. Like Chris was talking about his kids and his workouts. It's like, I don't know where we decided that you had to work out for an hour or it didn't count. Like, if you can get 15 minutes in before or after the kids go to bed, before they get up or after they go to bed, that's still something. It's better than nothing, and it's going to move the needle forward. It might not produce immediate crazy results, but you don't have time for immediate crazy results. You have time for a 15-minute workout, and in a year you're probably going to see a lot of change based on just those 15-minute workouts and small nutritional shifts that you're going to be really, really happy with, as opposed to the yo-yo shit that we're doing and like burning ourselves out constantly. But it's like, it's huge. If you can't get an hour, do something. Do 10 minutes. Go for a walk for 5 minutes. Like, those are all things you can do that aren't going to be overwhelming to you and are going to help you to feel like you've accomplished something. And you will get results from it. Again, it's not going to probably be like earth shattering like 1 week, but it will be after 12 months of doing that.
Well, and then, I found with doing that, when you get back to working out, and clients who've done that, when you have the chance to ramp it up, you're not so sore and beat up when
Yeah.
you're like, okay, now I can actually do the hour-long workout. I can really go intense. You can just jump into it rather than needing this phase of kind of like building up to that
Yeah.
intense workout for 3 to 4 weeks or longer in some cases. If you're not doing anything, you doing those 30 like quick workouts, like sometimes that's just like jump rope and kettlebell swings for like 20 minutes for me. But then the next week when I go back to my regular workouts, I'm not crazy sore. So the next
Yeah.
day I can go do a workout and I'm not like, oh my God, I'm dying. I need like an Epsom salt bath and a cold therapy and an aspirin to even move.
Yeah.
Oh God, I do not miss that feeling at all. When I was just working myself to the bone because I felt like I had to. And arguably now I love that I know exactly what I need in each moment, whether I need to deload, whether I need to push myself. I just have a better understanding of how to make those decisions. It was a lot of stabbing in the dark before, not knowing why I was tired, not knowing why I felt broken. And now I know the exact reason why almost every time, and I know exactly how to tackle it. And that's the key there, right? Is like, we're not doing this to punish you into being smaller and healthier. What we're doing is we're nurturing and honoring your body for what it needs, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. And I think arguably, like, the consistency will lead to opening up of time. Usually we feel like we don't have time because we are emotionally more attached to the things that are like more pleasurable for us. So like scrolling on our phone or watching Netflix or all those things, instead of, because I know that most people who say they don't have time to work out are scrolling on their phone or watching Netflix or doing shit that they're like, I always talk about this with laundry. I hate putting my laundry away. And I used to be like, I don't have time. Like, I do fucking have time. I have a lot of time. I spent like an hour on TikTok watching videos of cows the other day. I could have been putting away my laundry. But if you do a 15-minute workout 3 times a week and you start to feel good, you start to have more energy, you see some like inches coming off, then all of a sudden time opens up. Then you're like, I want more of this. And then you can fit in 30 minutes, and then you can fit in an hour. And of course, it's not going to be perfect every single week. You might have to do a half workout. I felt a fitness influencer I follow just had a baby online. They didn't have it online. He's online. But he was talking about how he had to cut his workout short because the baby needed to be changed. And he's like, I might go back and do the other half of it later or not. Like, it's not a big deal. In the course of all of my fitness and wellness, like missing half of the workout or the last part of the workout is nothing like it pales in comparison to not doing it at all. So like if your life changes, like you have a newborn, of course you like there's going to be things that come up or work gets in the way, but like time does open up for you as soon as you start implementing. And it's the extreme implementation that makes you feel overwhelmed, because of course if you go from 0 workouts a week to 4 hour-long workouts a week, that's going to be like highly mentally taxing. It would be mentally taxing to a person who like had no time commitments for anything else. If they were just sitting at home, like, I don't know what people do if they don't have jobs or, like don't have kids, but people find shit to do. And if they said, like, whatever they were doing before, I'm going to add 4 workouts in every week, I really don't have any obligations, it would still feel mentally taxing to them, because the first week or two of workouts really provides no like actual result other than usually being a little bit sore and a little bit more tired. So like that's the thing you have to focus on, is like if you're not doing anything, do one. Pick like one 15-minute workout a week, and then once that starts feeling good, do another one.
Yes.
Well,
And layering in those habits is really, really important. Go ahead, Chris.
on the flip side, because I know how my wife is. So you said the laundry thing. I'm the worst at putting laundry away. Not that I won't do it. It's literally it's out of sight, out of mind. So like I'm in my office or our main floor. My office is in the basement. Most of the time, I don't really go up to our bedroom until it's like bedtime, and then the kids are asleep, so it's dark. That's where my laundry is. So, but my wife is very much like, okay, this weekend you need to take time to relax, and she's like, no, I need to clean this, I need to do this, I need to do as things that don't necessarily have to be done. Does her work clothes need to be folded and put away? Yes, but does all of her like t-shirts she's wearing or the stuff she goes to sleep in need to be folded, put away, that so there's no wrinkles on them? No. So we also don't want to get into that excuse of like, well, I have all these errands, so I can't cook or take care of the kids because I have to clean the whole house and do this and do that and do. And the reason I bring that up is because my wife's very much that way, and I'll call her out on it. Like, it's real. You're making it important. It's really not important. Nobody cares except you that your shirt's in the basket for a week that you just wear around the house. Like, you don't go out in public with that shirt ever, or all this other stuff. So also be aware when you're doing that of like, well, I can't work out because the dishes can wait. The clothes, some of them can wait, not all of them. Like, obviously work clothes need to be folded, but some of that stuff can sometimes wait. Or buy a Roomba. That's huge time saver for us.
Yeah.
It used to be better before we had kids, though. We only had a vacuum like once a month. Now with kids, the toys everywhere, does not work upstairs. But down here in the basement, vacuum it like once a month.
Running into all the little toys
Sucking
everywhere.
up and all you hear is like the beeping. I'm like down here working like, please move Roomba to, and it'll go off like every 15 minutes. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. That's funny. Well,
I think what's cool. Sorry, go ahead.
We only have a couple of minutes left, and I wanted to just offer some, like, what you guys think are the most important things to implement into an everyday or most day schedule that can move the needle forward with health and wellness, that you can do during the holidays, you can do during the summer. What are your what's your one go-to thing?
One protein shake a day. One. I don't, it like, for some reason, that's just always my go-to. If I can't do anything, as long as I get a protein shake in and I know that I'm boosting and prioritizing that part of my day, I just feel a little bit better because I know that I like had just put that like tiny amount of effort in. And it helps me kind of make the best choice in the next meal for some reason. It's just a weird brain ninja thing that helps for me. On the days that I don't like prioritize that intake, I notice I just kind of go a little bit off the rails because I'm not anchored in that one thing. And so I really encourage you to just find one staple within your diet that packs a heavy punch, either protein or fiber wise or whole food wise, and let that anchor you to each day. It just starts with one and build out from there would be
Yeah.
my tip.
Like, I've been in this so long, and like one tip that I do, I for me, it's gonna be less of a like concrete thing than Sarah. It's just what is the like one thing that's going to kind of anchor me for the day,
Yeah.
that's going to help improve whatever my goal is at that time. So that might be breakfast if that's a challenge for you. That might be dinners. That might be a workout. For me, it's always dinner time, like planning around dinner, and then I'll work backwards from the day because we plan out our dinners in advance. So, okay, well, that's dinner. This is going to be left over. So, what's lunch? What's breakfast? I work backwards from there, and then I know, okay, well, I'm putting all this effort into my workout or my protein and fiber and everything else. Might as well just get the workout in. Make sure to maximize results.
I like that you said that because I think that's important too. Because if we do, our brains are driven to like continue to multiply. So, like, if you set yourself up for nutrition and you've crushed it, you do want to get the workout in, or vice versa. Like, if you're doing the workout, you want to get the proper nutrition in because you're not going to get the same results from your workout if your nutrition is ass, and like vice versa. So, I think that's huge. That's important.
That's how
Um,
fat burners work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think mine is steps, walking. It's a huge part of like my daily routine and my mental health care and my physical health care. And I'm not counting steps every single day. And in fact, I usually have a blackout day once a week or every other week where I'm not wearing my watch. I'm not tracking steps, but I'll go on a walk for however long. If that walk is 10 minutes or if that walk is 2 hours in a long hike, it's just a day where I can like I mean, because we work on social media, so I need it also, it but getting steps in most days of the week, every single week. And it's also something like when we travel, we love to do that because we can like walk the beach or walk the shops or like kind of explore the area. And it's a really easy way to at least keep yourself like neutral with movement, if you're overindulging in some capacity on vacation. And I think that's totally fine. We're going to eat out more on vacation. We're probably going to consume some fun cocktails or whatever. But if you're walking, it's going to help with inflammatory responses. It's going to help with all kinds of stuff. But like keeping that in your day, and I think most people can commit to a 15 to 30-minute walk every single day, and that moves the needle forward for, I mean, everybody that's what we did with Melissa, is 4,000 steps a day was the beginning part of her goals, and shit that turned her into this fitness freak. We'll have her on soon. She works with us as well. But it's people like want to sleep on steps because it doesn't seem that exciting. Or like the fitness influencers, it's starting to come around, but like it's a lot cooler to see the big weight machines and giant barbells. But like actually steps is one of the most important things that you can do in your day.
A lot of those small
Yep.
things are just the biggest. I mean, I think it all boils down to there's always something you can do, no matter how small, depending on what you have available to you, whether it's looking like, planning out your dinner and just making sure your dinner's super solid, getting a good protein shake in, getting your steps in, making sure you get, a good chunk of water into your day. That can anchor you to the next day. You don't have to only depend on, only feeling healthy if you got 45 minutes of cardio in and a 2-hour lift session and hit your macros perfectly. It does not have to look like that every single day. Would probably feel awful. if you did. And we want to open up the idea that this is like a fun, healthy, doable journey, and you can
Yeah.
keep yourself sustained by doing one small thing in a day if you need.
Yeah. So we have protein intake, meal planning in some capacity, and steps. And I think that, and do one of those, pick one and then
Mm-hmm.
add to it. I love meal planning because it's like it's gonna take a whole huge chunk of stress out. And I don't know why people think that meal planning is stressful. And I think most of that comes into like wanting to eat different foods because we're so used to the like highly palatable foods. But if you have dinner planned, like game changer. that's huge. You come home and you know exactly what you're gonna make and like there's no questions and you just do it. So
For people stressed about meal planning, here's how I do it. I write down any meals that I want to have, anything I'm craving or I've seen a recipe I want to make, that goes on the list. I ask my wife, are you craving anything? If she is, that goes on the list. Well, that might be 2 or 3 days right there. Okay, great. That's taking almost no mental energy. And then we'll do we want Mexican? Do we want to do something else? Or some people will do like Taco Tuesdays. We used to do
yeah.
Thai food every Tuesday. So you can also plan like that. Fridays, a lot of times we'll go to the farmer's market. So it's like we'll just pick up whatever's fresh at the farmer's market and make something from that. So there's no plan. So
That's
all of a sudden
fun.
you go from like, okay, well, if we're making something random on a Friday, and then every Tuesday's this, my wife's craving this, that goes on Monday. I'm craving this, that's Wednesday. Oh, really? We just have to figure out something for Thursday.
Yeah.
Great. And maybe that's leftovers. All of a sudden, planning is very simple. Write it down. I write down what cookbook and the page number the recipe's from. So, like today, like when I go upstairs, I'm just going to look. There it is. Pull that out. All the ingredients are already ready to go. Easy. It doesn't, I think people really overcomplicate it. It doesn't
Oh,
need to
they
be that hard. It
definitely
Yeah.
doesn't need
do.
to be doom scrolling on foodnetwork.com through the 1,000 ads to try to find a recipe. Or if you're not really don't know, Melissa posts what daily, almost daily.
Daily.
Yeah, daily a recipe in the Facebook group.
Yeah. Join our Facebook group. It's Commit to Fit on
Links
Facebook.
down in the show notes. Hint, hint.
You also, this is a good time to bring up, we also have free stuff in the show notes. So if you want some help with your nutrition, there's free guides in there. All you got to do is give us your email. It'll email right to you and you'll have some plans. And then, yeah, join the Facebook group because Melissa posts a recipe every single night. I think, I don't, does she do it on the weekends? I think she does. Seven
I think
nights a
she
week
I think she
does.
almost.
does. It's at least 5 days a week. Like
Yeah, she's
that's more than enough. But I think if she sees something on the weekend, she posts.
Oh,
yeah.
she's a recipe warrior, that one. Well, and then there's also just a lot of real time tips in there, you guys. We're in there all the time talking about our favorite supplements, our favorite recipes, our favorite tips and tricks for working out, all that stuff. So it's super duper helpful to just jump in there. And it's totally free and so not annoying, I promise.
Yeah, seriously. All right. Well, I think that we could talk about this forever, but hopefully this was helpful to you all. And of course, if you ever have any questions about how to fit wellness into your life or where to get started, we have the Facebook community. We're on all the social medias. We'd love it if you subscribed and commented or write us a review here. I guess I think the subscribes are the way to go. Like that's how they measure the like popularity. So we'd love it if you would do that. And we will keep coming back with more wellness talk.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
See you guys.
you.